It was a regular winter afternoon. Daniel was driving down a deserted road, heading back home after a stressful week of work. Everything seemed normal, except for a persistent feeling of unease he couldn't shake. The sky was gray, snow was falling lightly, and the silence around made the road seem endless. Daniel always prided himself on being practical, someone who didn't believe in coincidences or miracles. But that day, something made him deviate from his usual route. Maybe it was the exhaustion, or the desire to escape the routine for a few minutes. He decided to take a detour through a narrow road winding through a dense forest. The path was steep and rarely traveled, but it promised a different view, a break from the monotony. As he advanced down the road, Daniel noticed something unusual. At the side of the road, a human figure, dressed simply, was walking slowly. It was a woman, apparently in her 50s, wearing a thin coat, clearly inadequate for the intense cold. She was barefoot, her feet immersed in the snow, which made Daniel's heart race. Something was wrong. He slowed down and stopped beside her. The woman, without lifting her eyes, continued her slow walk, as if lost in another world. Daniel rolled down the window and, with a concerned tone, asked, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" She paused for a moment, turned slowly to him, and her eyes, deep blue and tired, met his. "I'm going home," she said in a fragile, hoarse voice. Daniel knew something was wrong. There were no houses in that direction, only miles of forest and snow. He insisted, "You don't look well. Please, get in the car. I'll take you somewhere safe." After a few seconds of silence, the woman agreed and got into the car. The cold radiated from her body, and Daniel turned the heater up to the maximum. As they drove, Daniel tried to make conversation. "What's your name? Where are you headed?" The woman, for a moment, remained in complete silence, staring at the road ahead as if trying to remember something. Then, with a deep sigh, she replied, "My name is Maria. I'm going home, but I don't know where it is anymore." Daniel was confused. How could someone not know where they lived? There was something deeply disturbing about the situation. He began to think that Maria might be in shock or suffering from some mental confusion. Determined to help, he remembered a small hospital not far from there and decided to take her there. During the drive, Maria shared a bit of her fragmented and disjointed story. She had lost her son in a car accident a few years ago, and since then her life had never been the same. The pain of the loss had become unbearable, and she felt alone in the world without direction or hope. Daniel, who had also lost his wife in a car accident 3 years ago, felt an immediate connection to the sorrow of that woman. He knew that pain, the consuming emptiness, and the feeling of not belonging anywhere. As they drove in silence, Maria suddenly turned to him and said something that sent chills down his spine. "I saw you, you know. Before you found me, I knew you would come." Daniel was perplexed. "What do you mean?" he asked, trying to stay calm. "I was praying, wandering without direction, and then I had a vision of a man who had lost someone just like me. I knew he would save me, and I knew that person would be you." Daniel was in shock. He didn't believe in visions, much less in miracles. But the way Maria spoke with a gentle and deep certainty made him question himself. He looked at her, feeling a strange sense of comfort and connection, as if, somehow, he was destined to be in that place, at that exact moment. Shortly after, they arrived at the hospital. Daniel helped Maria inside and explained the situation to the medical staff, who immediately took her in for an evaluation. Before being taken away, Maria held Daniel's hand and, with tears in her eyes, whispered, "You saved me, not just from the cold, but from myself." Daniel, touched by those words, stood motionless in the hospital corridor, watching as Maria disappeared behind the doors. He didn't know what to think. Part of him still struggled to rationalize everything that had happened. Could it really be possible that he had been guided to that road to save that woman? Or was it all just a coincidence? Days passed and Daniel's life returned to normal, but the memory of that unexpected encounter continued to haunt him. He decided to return to the hospital to see how Maria was. When he arrived, however, he was informed that Maria had passed away. She had been suffering from a severe heart condition that had worsened in recent days, but the doctors said her death had been peaceful, and unusually, in her final moments, she was smiling. Hearing this, Daniel felt a mixture of sadness and relief. He couldn't fully understand what had happened, but he knew that the encounter had changed him in a profound way. Perhaps, in some way, he had been part of something greater, something he would never completely comprehend. As he left the hospital, Daniel looked at the sky and, for the first time in years, felt at peace. He didn't know if he believed in miracles or fate, but he knew that on that day he had made a difference in someone's life, and perhaps that was enough.